Now I can get up. Good morning to all of you. Happy Father's Day, as Janelle extended to everyone. My name is Ken Claiborne, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of this congregation. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart welcomes all of you. Our mission is to welcome all, deepening spiritual understanding, growing together in community, working for social justice. If you would like to learn more about this fellowship, please see anyone wearing a name badge with any questions you may have, and visit our website at uufe.org. You're welcome to join us after the service for potluck. It's in the gathering place. For the listening enjoyment of all, please set your phones to the silent mode. If you need hearing support, also see the folks at the back sound desk at the rear of the sanctuary. Now I'm going to read part 2. These are new for all of us, so it's kind of one of those things that we kind of have to get used to. In the spirit of fellowship, care, and connection, I encourage every member of and friend to speak with at least one person they do not know or do not know well before leaving here today. This is how we will continue to build this beloved community that we seek. And to start these conversations off, please take a moment now, and I'll time you, to greet the people around you. And let's not forget our online friends. Everyone, let's say hello to them as well. Okay, go. I do hope that we can continue these conversations after the service during our potluck. So Carol Lee just walked by and reminded me of the Jazz Festival. I forgot it's wrapping up this afternoon. I was holding off on going to the Jazz Festival till after the service today, and it looks like it's going to rain buckets. So maybe I won't go, but yeah, go inside. So anyway, thank you all for greeting each other and for keeping it to a dull roar. So anyway, now we will begin our service.
We ring the gong 3 times, once for those who came before us and made a place for us. Once for those who are here now. And once for those who will follow and build on the dream. Our chalice will be lit this morning by special guest acolyte Jennings Kado. Thank you, Jennings. Excellent. Okay. Our chalice lighting this morning was written by Rebecca Savage. Welcome, beloveds. Welcome. We come to spiritual community this morning with many hopes in our hearts. The hope for inspiration, the hope for comfort, the hope for renewal. In this time and space, may inspiration water our thirsty souls. In this time and space, may comfort blossom in the gardens of our hearts and bring us sweet relief. In this time and space, may renewal course through us as electric as a surge of energy, as serene as a nourishing meal, as contagious as joy, and bring us vitality and rejuvenation. May our time together honor all the hopes we hold within. May our time together be blessed. Let us worship together. Please join me in saying our covenant in unison. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Now is the time in our service when we share with each other what is on our hearts, joys and sorrows, celebrations, concerns, anniversaries. If there's something you would like to share, please come to the front. Tell us your name so we may get to know you better. Share what you would like to say, and choose a stone or pebble from the basket and drop in the water. You may also share in silence. I drop this last stone for all the joys and sorrows unspoken. And I light the second candle for all the joys and sorrows we have yet to know. The children may go to RE now. Yes, they're eager to go. All right, there you go. And if you'll please join us together in hymn number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, led by Steve Kripe.
If you're willing and able, would you please stand and sing number 34? And it's a very short introduction. Though I may speak with bravest fire, and
Our cash offering today will be shared with Habitat for Humanity of Elkhart County, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. Their mission is to bring people together to inspire hope, build homes, empower families, and develop communities. Since 1986, they have built about 250 houses in our area, significantly raising the quality of life for all of those families. May we give with generosity and gratitude, and let our offertory be a musical interlude reflecting on the life of one very well-known creative person. Our morning offering will now be taken.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, the silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never will.
A special poem this morning, Orange Energy, written by Jennifer Healy and approved of by our speaker, Jessica Kado. All I want to do is delight. Throw the mask off, not care and not worry, not explain what I mean nor define what I do. Just be whatever I feel like being. Just relish the energy of this moment. I want to be so alive that I feel like the moon, throwing tides just for fun, creating because it's what I'm here to do. I want to love the color orange just because it craves delight too. I want to cry because I'm so in love with the miracle of being alive. I don't want to feel like I'm striving. I want to try and feel like I'm flying. I want to write the poetry, read the poetry, and breathe the poetry. I want my life to be a beautiful, messy mosaic that even I can't help but fall in love with. Create. I feel the winds of fury blowing through me. Even my bones are smiling. I hear my veins pulsing with desire, like branches dancing in the breezes. Wildflowers are waving and the ocean blossoms with a new idea. Crazy and beautiful is how I want my life to feel. Let it be. Let it be. I want to be free. I read to tap in. I absorb the poetry, and so it shall be. And now I am this energy. Our speaker this morning is creative spirit and new member Jessica Hardy Kado, who is a filmmaker, educator, producer, performer, and creativity advocate with more than 20 years of experience helping people find their voice through storytelling, performance, and the arts. She's a graduate of the Second City Conservatory and has also studied with Leslie Kahn Studios in Los Angeles. As a performer, Jessica has appeared in television, film, and commercials. Jessica founded the Chicago Comedy Film Festival, which ran for 10 years and was dedicated to supporting independent filmmakers, especially women. Alongside her husband, Brent Kado, Jessica has produced numerous short films, web series, and feature films. Together, they are the co-founders of Flow Feel Arts and Flow Feel Films, where they work with actors, writers, filmmakers, and young performers to develop their craft and build meaningful creative paths. And in her spare time, she is also currently pursuing her master's degree in English. Her work is rooted in the belief that creativity is not just about performance or success, but about courage, connection, healing, and discovering what is most alive in us. Today, Jessica will be speaking with us about creativity and how it can open us up to deeper expression, community, and purpose. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you, Janelle. Today, I invite you to pause with me, to breathe, and to open the door of your imagination. Because there is a sacred power that flows through every action of creation, a power that connects us to something greater than ourselves. But before I talk about creativity as something sacred, I should probably confess that for a long time, I understood creativity in almost the exact opposite way. I thought creativity was something that had to be proven. I trained at the Second City, Chicago, and completed the conservatory program, which at the time felt like being dropped into the center of everything. It was a time in life when my creativity came alive. I had the privilege of working alongside and around rising stars of comedy, including Vanessa Bayer, who went on to become a cast member on Saturday Night Live. I was surrounded by people who were brilliant, ambitious, hilarious, and just one big break away. There were also surreal moments that made the whole thing feel more cinematic than real life. At one after party, I literally tripped and fell into Rachel Dratch. It was embarrassing, ridiculous, and somehow perfectly on brand for that chapter of my life. Later, when I was living in Los Angeles, I came very close to booking a guest starring role on Veep. It was one of those moments where the door opens just wide enough for you to see the life you've been chasing on the other side. I didn't get the role, but it propelled me to work harder. The ride is addictive. The callbacks, the near misses, the rooms where you think everything could change in an instant, they pull you in. I started to understand how easy it is to confuse proximity with purpose. Being almost chosen, almost seen, almost famous can become its own kind of high. For a while, I was completely sucked in. At one point in Los Angeles, I was in an acting class where the hunger for validation became almost unbearable. Someone saw a picture of me on set, and I was too embarrassed to admit that I had only been there as an extra. So I lied, and I said I had booked a line. It was such a small lie, but it devastated me. I went to therapy and I cried for 45 minutes about what a bad person I was. My therapist gently told me, "This doesn't make you a bad person. This makes you human." Around that same time, I found another actor crying in the bathroom because she wasn't getting praise from our instructor. It was breaking her. That was when I started to realize how easily creativity can become tangled up with approval, status, and shame. Looking back, I think this is one of the places where creativity either dies inside of you or learns how to live differently. Because when you were young or hungry or trying to prove yourself, it is very easy to hand your creativity over to other people, to instructors, to casting directors, to audiences, to applause, to someone else's idea of whether you are talented enough, special enough, chosen enough. And little by little, something sacred became transactional. Instead of creating because something inside of you needs to be expressed, you start creating to be approved of. You start measuring your worth by the callback, the compliment, the laugh, the role, the praise you did or did not receive in class that day. That is a dangerous place to live for an artist. And I do not say that with judgment because I lived there. I understood how seductive it was. I understand how a near miss can feel like a prophecy. I understand how being almost chosen can keep chasing you for years. But I also think that is the moment where creativity asks a deeper question. Are you still willing to create when no one is clapping? Are you still willing to make something when it does not make you famous? Are you still willing to listen to the quiet voice inside of you, even when the world is only rewarding the loudest people in the room? For me, that became the beginning of a different relationship with creativity. Not creativity as performance, not creativity as proof, not creativity as a way to become worthy. Creativity is something that was already alive in me, something I had to stop auditioning for. And I think that is true for all of us, whether we call ourselves artists or not. It never fails when I speak to someone about my improv background, someone will say, "I could never do that. I could never think on my feet like that." And I always respond, anyone can do improv. Because improv is not really about being funny. It's about being present. It's about being authentic. It's about listening, responding, and staying open to what might happen next. Stephen Colbert once said, "Life is improvisation. You have no idea what's going to happen next, and you are mostly just making things up as you go along." And maybe that is why creativity matters so deeply in our spiritual lives. Because creativity is not simply about talent or artistic skill. It's about our ability to remain open to surprise, open to transformation, open to the unknown unfolding in our lives. To create is to participate in life instead of merely reacting to it. Over time, I began to realize that creativity was not just something I practiced on stage or in writing workshops. It became something much deeper for me. It became a way of surviving grief, uncertainty, illness, and change. I will go out on a limb here and say that many of us are drawn to spirituality because we are looking for guidance through the unknowns of life. We are looking for meaning when life does not make sense. We are looking for something to hold on to when we cannot control what happens next. But what if creative practice also equips us for that? What if creativity, the ability to face life with wonder, curiosity, and imagination, helps us move through uncertainty with a more open heart? Creativity is not just something we do. It is part of the life source that sustains us. From the unfolding of the universe to the forming of every living cell, creativity is woven into the fabric of existence. Every time we create, we mirror that process. Whether we paint, write, dance, plant a garden, build a home, make a meal, play with a child, we are participating in the same sacred energy that birthed the stars and shaped the earth. I know this truth intimately. During my own cancer journey, there were emotions I could not name, feelings too tangled, too raw, too overwhelming to capture in a single word. I carried them inside, unspoken and heavy. But then one day I wrote a poem. And somehow in those lines, I was able to form what had been wordless. The poem became the essence of what I was feeling, a vessel big enough to hold my fear, my grief, and even my hope. It's titled Accoutrements. There's nothing to change right now. The moon is out, can't change it. Can't rearrange or exchange the sadness. The face that you watch at night is perfect. Reflections are surreal, steal a story, imagine. The universe stopped here on this moment, the one when you were finally present. Awareness takes a certain amount of abandonment. Accoutrements in a backpack, locked up in a hospital locker while they open you up. That is the miracle of creativity. It can carry what feels impossible to carry alone. It can shine a light through our darkest times, reminding us that the very force that created the universe is still alive in us. But creativity does not always arrive as inspiration. Sometimes it arrives as endurance. Sometimes it appears in seasons where we cannot make anything at all. And some of the most important creative moments of my life did not happen when I was producing work. They happened when I was forced into stillness. When I underwent radiation treatment for thyroid cancer, I had to be completely isolated from everyone for 5 days. Jennings was only 4 years old at the time, and being separated from him was one of the hardest experiences of my life. I remember deciding beforehand that I would use the time creatively. I would write. I would process everything artistically. I would somehow turn the experience into something meaningful. But the reality was very different. I was too sick to write. Instead, I sat alone at a family lake house staring at the water for hours, unable to do much of anything. And I remember wondering, is this who I am now? Will this illness take away my creative spirit? Will it dim whatever light I had before this? I was deeply afraid. But even when I could not create outwardly, one thing remained available to me. I could observe. I observed the water, the silence, nature, television series, books, my own thoughts, loneliness, stillness, the strange feeling of being separated from ordinary life. And somewhere inside of me, inside a psyche temporarily dampened by radioactive treatment, I was still gathering something. I was taking an internal imprint of the experience. While my body was undergoing transformation, while parts of it were quite literally dying off so that I could continue living, I became intensely aware of how thin the veil is between life and death, presence and absence, body and spirit. And then, only a few months later, I found myself sitting in a Unitarian Universalist church in Studio City, listening to a minister speak about many of the same questions I had wrestled with in isolation. Questions about consciousness, suffering, meaning, connection, and what it means to be alive. And suddenly, something clicked. I realized our creative consciousness often understands things before our rational mind does. Creativity is not always productivity. It is not always performance. Sometimes creativity is deep noticing. Sometimes it is intuition. Sometimes it is the soul gathering fragments before the mind knows what they mean. And looking back, I no longer believe those 5 days were a pause in my creativity. I think they were a part of its formation. And strangely enough, years later, before cancer ever entered my life, I had experienced another moment. Years earlier, I had experienced another moment that taught me something similar about creativity, but not through suffering this time, but through play, through absurdity, through spontaneity, through letting go of control long enough to become fully present. In 2014, Brent and I were living in Los Angeles. I was auditioning for commercials and taking acting classes, hoping to get better representation and break further into the industry. We had risked a lot to move there. We were fully capable of working more traditional jobs, but we wanted to live a life worth remembering. What I learned quickly is that for all Los Angeles offers in beauty and opportunity, it also is hard. Not long after moving there, we had our first visitors, my in-laws, and naturally, we had to take them to the most touristy attractions imaginable. My in-laws had spent every morning of their lives watching The Price is Right, so of course we had to go. I had already learned something interesting about television tapings in Los Angeles. Before entering the studio, potential contestants are quietly interviewed by producers. They ask questions and observe who seems interesting and energetic or willing to play. And standing there waiting for my turn, I suddenly thought about all the auditions I had, and all the auditions that made me feel nervous and pressured and less than. Auditions where creativity had started to feel small and transactional. So I decided that because this wasn't a real audition, I was going to do something radical. I was going to have fun. When my group got interviewed, the producer asked about hobbies, and I told them my favorite hobby was whittling baskets and selling them on eBay. This was not true. I was being completely ridiculous. But I committed to the story, and I started laughing hysterically while I was telling it. Afterward, I assumed I had gone way too far. Then we entered the studio. About an hour into the taping, over the loudspeaker, I suddenly heard Drew Carey say, "Jessica Hardy, come on down." If you watch the video, you can see genuine shock in my face. I remember thinking, wait, seriously? And from that moment on, the entire experience felt strangely spiritual. Not because I won things, not because I was on television, but because for the first time in a long time, I was fully in the moment. I hadn't prepared for it. When I got called to contestants row, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I kept turning around, asking Brent and my in-laws, what should I bid? Over and over, I kept losing. But somehow, I didn't care. I was having the time of my life. It felt like all the pressure I had been carrying in Los Angeles, every fear about success, talent, rejection, competition, survival, had temporarily disappeared. And internally, it felt like something was whispering, just have fun, be joyful, be happy for everyone else too. Every time another contestant won, I was genuinely thrilled for them. It felt like we were all participating in something absurd and joyful together. The room was filled with creativity, and that had nothing to do with perfection and everything to do with presence. And somehow, despite being absolutely terrible at understanding prices in the economy of 2014, I won my Showcase Showdown spin and made it to the final showcase where I won trips to Italy, China, and Mexico. But oddly enough, that's not the part I think about most. What I think about most is the feeling of being unattached to the outcome, the feeling of participating fully, the feeling of my in-laws and my husband running to the stage, crying and laughing at the same time, and my husband spinning me around in circles, and my in-laws talking to Drew Carey as if they just couldn't believe what was happening to them. I won back a piece of myself, the piece that remembered creativity is not about proving your worth. It's about courage, presence, play, connection, and being willing to enter the moment without needing to control the result. And maybe that is ultimately what creativity invites us to do. Not perfection, but presence. The courage to remain awake in our lives, to sit beside the water when we can't write, to laugh during the audition instead of trying to impress, to create meaning from suffering. I think many of us were taught that creativity belongs to the artist, but I no longer believe that. Creativity belongs to anyone willing to fully participate in life. Thank you. Oh, I didn't know if we had time. If we don't have time, we can do it. Okay.
For a couple of things, yeah. Questions, comments?
Well, I just want to comment about Jess's improv and organization skills, because we had a small improv show here yesterday, which I think there was some unfortunate glitch and was not publicized. And we had a ton of fun. And it reminds me how much fun it is to just let yourself go and be silly like a child.
Yeah.
I found your presentation extremely inspirational, and I applaud your willingness to open up your life and let us in. And I'm so glad you're here with us.
Everything you said, and I just love the so many parts of what you had to say. Like, perfection is not something that any of us have, and about being able to laugh instead of moan and groan. And I discovered that myself a long time ago. It takes much less energy, doesn't it? Yeah, thank you very much for contributing to our growth as a congregation.
I'm one of those people that told you that I could never do it.
Yeah, that was specifically about you.
Yeah, because I still don't think I could do it. But it is, but what you said is encouraging, and perhaps someday. But it is scary to be out there and to have people laugh at you or with you or whatever.
Sure.
It always seems like laughing at you, and I don't like. I get scared about that.
Yeah, sure. I know people like that feel uncomfortable with just kind of being put on the spot like that. And, as I said, creativity just exists in so many different ways. It's not just about performing. So it's important to remember that. I feel creative when I cook. Well, you know.
And thank you very much for this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everyone wants to know, did Drew Carey ask you about your basket weaving and carving and your Etsy shop?
I don't think that Drew Carey knows what anyone says during the interviews,
Okay.
because it's like sort of the behind the scenes producer, so he had no idea.
You're lucky. Okay, thank you all. And there's even more to know about Jess. So if you haven't spoken at length with her, I encourage you to get to know her even better.
Let's stand if you're willing and able to sing our last hymn, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky, 301. All 5 verses.
Please join me in our chalice lighting that's written in the order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts. And following the benediction, you are welcome to stay and listen to this beautiful postlude, or you may leave quietly if you wish.
As we go from this place, may we remember that creativity is not reserved for the chosen few, but it is a sacred spark alive in every human heart. As Willy Wonka sings in one of my favorite songs, Pure Imagination. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Reach out, touch what's once just in your imagination. Don't be shy, it's all right. If you feel a little trepidation, sometimes these things don't need explanation.